Hey, I'm Lisa Smith, and I am so happy you're here. Tonight I am making crispy sesame chicken, although the recipe from Damn Delicious is crispy sesame beef. But I'm gonna just switch it up a little bit tonight, and we're gonna make it with chicken. And it's so good and so fast. You can get this done after work or at the end of the day in about 30 minutes. So I'm gonna start out by showing you what we have. What we do is you heat up a cup of peanut oil. Sometimes these recipes for crispy chicken and beef, they'll call for canola oil, but canola oil is not my favorite. In our country, canola oil, almost all of it is GMO, and it's considered an RBD oil. RBD stands for refined, bleached, and deodorized. And trust me, you don't want that in your oil. You don't want any of that because they use a lot of toxins to refine it and bleach it and deodorize it. So we're going with the peanut oil recipe, and I have that heating up in our skillet right now. As you can see, some of the bubbles are starting to form. So let's come on over here, and I want to show you. So you could either do this with beef, you could do it with chicken, and you can do it, or you could even do it with shrimp. Our chicken's already been cut up. We're using chicken thighs tonight. And this recipe calls for cornstarch, which is wonderful. It makes a wonderful crispy crust for your meal. But we at my house have some corn sensitivity, so we are using arrowroot powder. Here's the arrowroot powder. You can use that in place of cornstarch. You just want to use double the arrowroot powder for how much the cornstarch is called for. So let's get started. First thing we're gonna do, we're going to dredge our chicken in our arrowroot powder, easy for me to say, and we're gonna go ahead and put that in our hot peanut oil. While that's cooking, I'm gonna show you how to make the sauce. Okay, so let's just get started. You work in batches on this. You don't do, because you want it to get nice and crispy. So in your pan or your pot, depending on what you're cooking it in, you need to have lots of room. So let's start. You can see my chicken. And now I'm gonna go ahead and just put this batch in just to get it started. So come on over. I did salt this chicken first because otherwise it's a little bit, the sauce is really flavorful, but it gives it just a little more flavor. Okay, so let's go ahead. I wanna show you a little trick first about how to check and see if your oil is hot enough. So what you do is you flick a little bit. You hear that sizzle? You know that your oil's nice and hot. Normally you flick a little, but my fingers aren't great, so I just kind of poured it in my hand. So now, you put the chicken and you lay it flat as possible. Make sure it stays nice and hot. Make sure it's a little bit hotter. I want to make sure it stays nice and hot so it crisps up quickly. You just want it in here for a few minutes per side to get nice and crisp, and then we take it out and we put it on a paper towel lined plate. Okay. All right, you can see how coated this is in arrowroot powder. That's gonna be what gives us that wonderful, delicious, crispy exterior. Now, I'm gonna set this down and I'm gonna switch this. Hang on one second. I'm gonna wash my hands and switch that paper towel out because I touched it and I have raw chicken on my hands. So we're gonna go ahead and switch that around. Dry those hands really well. Okay, so now we got this. We're ready to roll. You can see this is getting nice and cooked. We just wanted to cook for a couple more minutes, and then I'm gonna flip it, and then I'm gonna show you the sauce. All right, let's see how we're looking. Is it crisp enough yet? Oh no, it needs a couple more minutes. So come on over, we're gonna just let that sit a minute. I'm gonna move this over here. Wash those hands. So, I just wanna clean this up so you don't have that in front of you. You already know what the arrowroot powder is for, and on we go. All right, so to make our sauce, there's some really wonderful ingredients. It calls for a 1/4 cup soy sauce. Now, I double this recipe for the sauce because I always want more sauce because I throw in extra vegetables and I throw it on top of rice, so I go ahead and double it. So it calls for a 1/4 cup, I put in a 1/2 cup. So soy sauce, I already started putting some of these ingredients in here for you. Soy sauce, we're gluten-free at my house, so we use tamari. That's a gluten-free soy sauce. I did half this and I did half coconut aminos, which are a really awesome substitute for soy sauce. So I did half and half to make up my half a cup of soy sauce. Then it also calls for freshly squeezed orange juice. This is as freshly squeezed as I'm getting tonight. So I used that orange juice, rice vinegar, and then it calls for 2 cloves of garlic and some grated ginger, which I'm gonna come right back to. Let's just make sure our chicken doesn't burn first. Okay, so you can see that this is, it's still not as brown as I want it to be. Hang on a sec. Sometimes your oil has to reduce down a little bit to get it nice and brown. So I'm thinking this second side is gonna get browner. Either way, it's gonna be crispy and delicious. I can already see it getting crispy on the one side. You wanna be careful when you flip it because you don't want to get that nice crust rubbed off. All right, almost, there we go. All right. Okay, so we'll let that cook for another couple minutes. And back to our sauce. All right, so back to our sauce. So we did the soy sauce. I forgot to tell you about brown sugar. I like to substitute coconut sugar for brown sugar, but you can use either. You could even use maple syrup. I like this, it's a little lower glycemic, so it doesn't spike the blood sugar as much, so we use coconut sugar. Then I told you the orange juice, the rice vinegar, and next what you put in are 2 cloves of garlic. So I already put one in, but I'm gonna go ahead and put that extra one in. Okay, so extra clove of garlic. Let's see if I can get that. Oh, that one's not coming out very much. Okay. And then grated ginger. There's nothing like freshly grated ginger. So this is one of my favorite tools. When I first got married, a lady who owned a little cooking shop told me this was the best thing to get, and she is right. What this is just a little tiny grater, and it makes the easiest way to grate your fresh ginger. So what I'll do is I'll buy fresh ginger in a bag, and then what I'll do is keep it in the freezer. So, and then when I need it, I take it out, cut off what I need, and then I grate it. So if you see here, let's move that out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and grate this. I'm gonna take one more break. I wanna go back and check that chicken because I don't want that to overcook. Let's see what we got here. I don't want that chicken to overcook, so let's go ahead and get that out of here. You can see it's starting to brown up really nicely. Some of it needs a little, yeah. Yep, it's starting to get brown now. So what we want to do is we want to put this on this paper towel because that'll absorb that extra peanut oil. And then this oil will be ready for the next batch of chicken. See how nice and brown it's starting to get? All right, so let's pull these that are starting to get that golden brown color. Over here. All right. Let this get just a couple more minutes, let them get browner. Then I'm gonna finish putting the ginger into our sauce, and then our sauce will be about ready. So hang on just 1 second. There we go. This is one of those pair of tongs that if you turn it one way, if you turn it one way, it locks, and turn it the other way, it unlocks, but sometimes it's really fussy and it won't unlock. So some designs are better than others. All right, so we're getting the chicken out. It's getting a nice golden brown, and I'm just gonna put this over here. Okay, so let's move on to the ginger. Now the ginger, you can see here, whoops, I do not want to grate my finger in there. So the ginger, you just grate in a teaspoon. I estimate it. I don't necessarily measure that out, but I go ahead and make an estimate. All right, let's do this. Okay, and you can see here. Okay, we're getting there. So we'll do that a couple more times, and we'll be just gonna do that 2 more times. Let's go ahead and check that out. Okay. Whoa, I got 2 thumbs on my hand today. All right, so this gives us the ginger. So now we have everything in there except 2 things I haven't shown you yet. There's sriracha and there's sesame oil. So let me go ahead and get the rest of this in here. All right, just wipe that off, and let's go ahead and put that over here. Now, put my microplane over here. My ginger's done. Now sriracha, this is a special sriracha. You know what I love about this sriracha? They hid some extra veggies in it. So there are carrots in here. There's butternut squash in here. Let me see what else. There's one other thing. Yep. The other thing is spinach, and it is delicious. So if you're looking for sriracha and trying to sneak some extra veggies in, this is a good one. The brand is called True Made Foods Veggie Sriracha. So we put some of that in there, and then I put sesame oil in as well. And now our sauce is about ready to roll. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and cook that sauce in here. Let me go ahead and pour that peanut oil. Yeah, let me go ahead and pour that peanut oil right here. All right, now I'm gonna pour this very carefully into here. Yeah, can you wait? And be careful, Todd. There we go. Okay, so now this comes back. Let me just wipe that off on the edge because I don't want any of that there. I'll take that, thanks. All right. And we're just gonna wipe that off. Make sure I got that all off of here. And my Christmas hot pad here. One's Christmas and one's Valentine's Day. So I got my holiday hot pads. All right, so let's move on to the very next. I want to wipe this out. So this, you know, still has the peanut oil in. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna wipe it out, and I'm gonna heat that sauce up here and thicken it up. Why do I do that, you ask? Because I hate to clean extra pans. So I just use the same one, and then I'll clean it all at the end of the night. So now I've just wiped all the all the peanut oil out. And now we're gonna put our delicious sauce in here. All right, here we go. We're gonna heat this up. And you wanna heat it just for a few minutes until it gets a little bit thicker. And then after you do that, it'll be ready to toss with our chicken. All right. Now, we're gonna heat that up. And while we do that, I wanna show you a little bonus. So whenever as a registered dietitian, I'm always teaching how much protein should you have, how many carbs should you have, how many veggies should you have, how many fats. So I'm gonna grab a plate and I'm gonna give you an idea of what I always teach about how much to have in protein, carbs, and veggies. So this is our dinner plate. Okay, say this is our dinner plate. You want your protein to be about the size of a deck of cards. So you want it to be about 1/4 of your plate. That's the right amount of protein. That'll give you right about 25 grams. You're looking for anywhere from 20 to 30 grams of protein per meal to get your blood sugar balanced and get to the right amount of protein. So that would be, about the size of a deck of cards, right? On this 1/4 of your plate. The other 1/4 of your plate would be your good, smart carbs, your complex carbohydrates, things like your brown rice or starchy veggies like a sweet potato or quinoa, those kind of things that would go on 1/4 of your plate. And the rest of your plate you would want to fill with vegetables. So because of that, I have a little bonus tonight. some little extra veggies we're gonna sneak in. But in the meantime, let me go ahead and just stir this sauce so I don't burn it when I'm talking to you. So this is our sauce. You can see it's starting to thicken really nicely. And I wish you were here because you could smell the garlic and the ginger and the soy. You could smell all these delicious flavors mixing together. But for now, we're just gonna let that thicken up just a couple more minutes. And I already, before I started this today, I made the rice. I made rice, so we're gonna have rice. Usually I make brown rice, but today I made white basmati rice. But again, that would be a half of a cup, which is like half of your fist or half of a baseball. That would be a serving size. So now our sauce is getting nice and done. That is gonna be so good tonight. All right. I'm gonna turn that off just because it's getting nice and just to where we want it. And I wanted to show you my little extra bonus tonight. My extra bonus is a delicious salad because I told you I like to sneak more vegetables in. So this is called orange and fennel salad. It is a fresh, delicious, super easy way to add more veggies and a little bit of fruit, and it's delicious. So what you do is you slice up fennel. You slice up one bulb. And if you've ever worked with fennel before, you know you want to cut the stalk off because the stalk, even though it looks a lot like celery, see how it looks like celery? It's woody, so it doesn't, you can't chew it like you chew celery. So you cut that off at the top, and then you'll start to slice this fennel bulb, and I'm going to show you what you end up with. Then you also slice up some oranges. So you slice up some oranges, you just get the slices and cut them in half. And then I also just sliced up some chives from the garden because it's that time of year. Then, what you have here, is you can see what the fennel looks like when you slice it. It's like a celery consistency, but it has a very mild, almost like an anise flavor. So if you don't like anise, you might not like fennel, but it is so fresh that I do encourage you to give it a shot. So you just slice it crosswise, and then you toss it in the bowl with the oranges, and then you top it with some cranberries. Organic cranberries are the ones I like to buy. And you just toss it on top with that, and then you put in a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, and you put in a tablespoon of red wine vinegar, 1 bulb of fennel, 2 oranges. I'll go ahead and pop the rest of these in here. So that's 2 oranges, 1 bulb of fennel, a handful, calls for 2 tablespoons. I did a handful of these cranberries, and then the olive oil, the red wine vinegar, and then I sprinkled some salt on top. And that's it. And then to make it really pretty, I threw in some extra chives that I cut up. I just threw those on top, and then you can take these fronds from the fennel, see those? And you just rinse them off, and then you chop them up, and they make the prettiest decoration on top, and they're just gorgeous. And now if you had company coming over for a summer meal, they're gonna think you worked pretty hard at this. It's delicious. But you know, and I know that this just took about 3.5 minutes. So that's a great side dish to add on to our dinner tonight. So here's what we're gonna do. Our sauce is about done, right? So we've got our sauce. That looks amazing. I heated up veggies already. These are actually, hey, hack. These are roasted from last night and the night before. Green beans and broccoli. And so we took these, I take these and just pop them in. Looks like I worked a lot harder than I did tonight, doesn't it? So you just pop those into the sauce. You let them just absorb that sauce for a little bit. I'm gonna pop them all in here. And then you pop your chicken in there. This is nice and drained now, so it'll be nice and crispy. I'm just gonna throw a few in just to show you how this turns out. And then I'm gonna finish my batch in a little while, and then it will be all done. Okay, so here's what we got. We've got, if you did, like I said, if you wanted to do the same amounts, like I said, you would put in half a cup, remember, like half of a fist or half of a baseball. That's about right. That's about a serving. It's so surprising what a serving of rice or pasta is, or even ice cream. A half a cup is very little. But once you realize that and you dial it in, you'll find that it still is very satisfying because you're still getting plenty of protein and vegetables. So let's go ahead. So we got about a half a cup there, give or take. You just want to eyeball it. Then this is not quite 4 ounces. This is not quite the same as a deck of cards, but I'm just showing you just to give you the idea. All right, so we've got our crispy chicken with broccoli and green beans. We've got some rice, and then we're gonna top it off with our beautiful salad. And we've just got a fast restaurant quality meal at home, fast, easy, and delicious. Let's go ahead and finish it off. Let's put the crowning jewel on here. All right, this is it. I'm getting ready to land this plane, guys. So for dinner tonight, here's what we have. Crispy sesame chicken with delicious orange and fennel cranberry salad. So thank you for watching. I'm so excited. I will see you next time. Enjoy.